on a night that proved that nothing in sports is free, even against a free-falling team. Rangers lose consecutive games in regulation time for the first time in almost 3 months. And this was not a good one. 4-1 the final against the Flyers on Garden Ice. Alongside Steve Valiquette, I'm John Giannone from our Delta MSG studios from the Garden. This was one of those nights. I mean, the Rangers have won 28 out of 39 home games, but I think for the first time this season, the fans voiced their displeasure on what they saw after 60.
Well, they're not wrong, right? Because there wasn't the effort there that we have seen the Rangers play with that enthusiasm during the year. This is the first stinker that we've seen in a very long time. Now, you don't want to forgive the team for that. You don't want to back into the playoffs. If this stinker is in October, November, it's easier to get over because you have so many games left. You just don't want to have this feeling of we're backing into the playoffs. Nobody wants to back into the playoffs. You want to go in with a step and some arrogance to your game, and you didn't see that out there, and it was mostly effort-based.
Yeah, as for the moment, they still lead the division by 3, the conference by 3, and the NHL by 1 over Dallas, which is in action tonight. But it's not a good one. That's the second straight game where the Rangers do not score at 5-on-5. Just 3 power play goals in the last 2 games, both losses. Let's begin the reaction with part of the leadership group of the Rangers. Here's Mika Zibanejad in the dressing room with Michelle Gingras.
It was. I think the whole game wasn't good enough. We knew they were going to be desperate. When we didn't match their intensity, their desperation level, we don't execute what we're supposed to do. I think we're slow to execute. We're slow to do things. So just overall, not a good game.
Were you surprised that you weren't able to match that intensity, that desperation level from this team tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone has an intention of not doing it when you go out there and you think about the game. But then, I don't know. We got to do a better job of just. I mean, yeah, they do a good job, but I think it's mostly just look at our game and understand that we didn't get up to the standards that we've set for ourselves, and it wasn't like the other night. I thought the second and the third last game was good, and we kind of battled back and came back. We tried, but wasn't there, and just a bad night.
Mika, what do you feel like it would mean to this team to clinch a division, to sit atop the league?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's that goal has kind of presented for us, and we get another chance to win a game on Saturday, and wins or losses, you try to analyze it, and then you move on either way and focus on the next game. So we know it wasn't a good game from our side, get back to practice tomorrow. Feel good about our game. Feel good about ourselves, and get ready for Saturday.
No sugarcoating from Mika Zibanejad and Steve. The identical words that we heard from Tuesday night, right? We didn't match their intensity or desperation level. We didn't get up to the standard we've set for ourselves. Happens once, it's a write-off. Happens twice, especially at this time of year. Human nature or a concern?
Well, it's a concern, John, because, again, the time of the year, it's a concern. You don't have a lot of time to make up for this. Look, that old saying always rings true, too, doesn't it? It's you fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And the core group of this team, I'd love to see the urgency that they should be playing with, which is, guys, we're on notice here. We failed twice in the playoffs, and it was when we were up. And we're up right now on the season, and it feels to me like everybody else is trying to play playoff hockey against us. We should be getting the most out of this and keep our legs under us and play a certain way so that we can be predictable for each other. And when you're losing games because you're playing off the rush, when you should be playing against that team in the zone, it was a drawn up game plan for this game. It was pretty easy in my mind. Play against Philadelphia in Philadelphia's zone. Their goalie is done, and they allowed him to have life because they wanted to play an easier game. It's an easier game to play off the rush. It's harder to dig in and play in the offensive zone and then play in your own zone. And there wasn't that. And that's why Quick doesn't have a great game, because he can't even read off of where anybody was.
Right. Yeah, I mean, let's not forget, 8 straight losses, outscored 42-18. That's what the Flyers brought into tonight, and they leave the Garden with a 4-1 win. They scored early. They had a 3-1 lead headed to the third period. Rangers needed to kill off a penalty, and you got the feeling that what the Rangers presented in the third period was probably going to be the story of the game, and what they presented was 2 shots on goal in 20 minutes.
Right. A push to start the period. 4.5 minutes into the period, I'm sitting here saying, okay, I like what I see. There's some physicality. You saw Trouba, he stepped up and he laid the body a couple of times. He was getting in there to just wake everybody up. And you saw Schneider do the same thing and step up at the blue line. This is good stuff, especially on Hathaway, that was having his way out there with the Rangers tonight. And a couple of scoring chances, a missed net from Trocheck, a scoring chance where Lafreniere absolutely hammers the post. He gets inside, but this is the first time I saw Laffy do anything all game, and that's not good for him. He's chasing down 30 goals. Keep it going, kid. And when you get to the net here and there's a little bit of a second opportunity, it just wasn't enough. You know what it wasn't enough of? Sustained offense that lasts a lot of time in zone. And when you have a play like this one here, where the Rangers are giving plays off the rush, and you're not strong at the offensive blue line, you're going to pay a price. It's the one area of weakness in the Rangers game, and this one here sets me off because I love Miller, but he didn't take a hard stride from the blue line all the way down the ice. And it's that really, look, that gets guys mad at each other, because you're saying, and I'm telling you right now, do you know how much different it is to be a goalie when you're seeing your guys come back hard and you're like, okay, I can take out the ice here. I thought Miller could have caught him. Miller could have caught Konechny. He could have crossed his feet over and he could have caught him. And Trouba was flat-footed, but Miller could have covered. So Quick is looking up ice, and now all of a sudden he's saying to himself, are you kidding me? I'm going to face a breakaway right now? And it's almost a surprise. Yeah. And he gets out there and he makes a save, but it wasn't his most athletic save. And I think that he's saying to himself, you know, what are we doing out here, boys? You know, it's one of those.
It's what Phil Housley said between second and third period to me. He said, we're just a second late on everything. And it sure showed through the course of the 60 minutes.